Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we are bringing you an update on a heated incident that unfolded at the Lilian Ngoyi clinic in Johannesburg, where Operation Dudula members were disrupted during ID checks after the police were called in. Please make sure to stay with me until the end so you can hear the sources of this news and verify it for yourself. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the latest updates that affect all of us here in South Africa. Now, let's get into what happened. Operation Dudula, a movement that has been making headlines for its controversial stance against illegal foreign nationals in South Africa, had once again gone into the community to carry out ID checks at a public health facility. This time, it was the Lilian Ngoyi clinic, a place that many ordinary South Africans depend on for basic healthcare services. According to reports, members of Dudula arrived at the clinic demanding that patients produce proof of legal documentation before receiving treatment. Their argument, as usual, was that foreign nationals without legal papers are putting strain on South Africa's already struggling health system. But things didn't go as smoothly as they had planned. Witnesses say tensions quickly escalated when some patients resisted and staff members became visibly uncomfortable with the group's actions. Nurses and administrators eventually decided enough was enough, and that's when police were called in to intervene. When the authorities arrived, they disrupted the operation immediately. Officers reportedly told the Dudula members that they had no legal authority to conduct ID checks inside the clinic, and that such actions could be considered harassment or even intimidation. The police emphasized that only the Department of Home Affairs has the legal mandate to enforce immigration documentation checks, not private citizens or groups. As you can imagine, this sparked a lot of back and forth. Some community members supported the Dudula members, clapping and cheering as they said foreigners were indeed overwhelming the system. Others, however, were upset, saying the movement had no right to interfere with people's health care, regardless of their nationality. One woman at the clinic was heard saying, "I just came here to get my blood pressure checked, I don't want to be in the middle of politics." It's important to remember that the Lilian Ngoyi clinic, like many public clinics in the country, is already under immense pressure. Long queues, shortages of medication, and limited staff are daily realities. Adding the disruption of outside groups trying to enforce their own rules only adds to the chaos. This incident also raises serious questions about where the line is drawn between community activism and overstepping into state functions. While Dudula insists it is fighting for South Africans to get priority access to services, critics argue that the movement risks promoting vigilantism. They say it's not up to citizens to police immigration status in hospitals, schools, or clinics, but rather up to the state to manage these issues through proper law enforcement and policy. Politically, the matter is also sensitive. The government has been criticized for not acting firmly enough on illegal immigration and for allowing tensions to fester between locals and foreign nationals. On the other hand, groups like Dudula are pushing boundaries in ways that could create even more division and hostility. The fear is that these kinds of clashes could eventually boil over into violence if not properly managed. After the police intervened at Lilian Ngoyi clinic, the Dudula members eventually dispersed, but they left vowing to continue their operations elsewhere. Their leaders say they will not stop until government takes decisive action to prioritize South Africans in housing, jobs, and healthcare. For them, clinics have become a symbolic battleground to show just how desperate ordinary people are for change. Now, for the people actually using these clinics, this is not just about politics, it's about their health. Imagine you're sick, maybe with your child in your arms, and you arrive at a clinic only to be stopped and questioned about your ID by strangers. It's no wonder some patients have said they feel unsafe and intimidated when Dudula members show up. The police have not confirmed whether there will be any formal charges against the individuals involved in this disruption, but they made it clear at the scene that order must be maintained, and healthcare facilities should remain safe and neutral spaces for everyone who needs help. So, South Africans are left with mixed feelings. On the one hand, there's growing frustration about how stretched our services are, and how ordinary people feel left behind. On the other hand, there's real concern that groups taking matters into their own hands might end up creating even bigger problems than the ones they're trying to solve. Before I wrap up, let me just add a little light note, because South Africans will always find humor even in tough times. One man outside the clinic apparently shouted, "Next time I'll just bring my clinic card and my passport to buy Panadu, maybe that will make everyone happy." Sometimes laughter is how we cope, but it shows just how serious and personal these issues have become. All images used in this video are for illustration purposes only. The sources of this news are Eyewitness News, Times Live, Bensautan Live.